Hi everybody, this is Dave Jones with Storm Center Communications and GeoCollaborate. It's just past 4:30 on the East Coast here on January 6th, 2025. We've had the first major winter storm in the last 3 years here in the Mid-Atlantic and extending out towards the Midwest. Some high impact event from snow totaling more than a foot in some locations, up to 15, 16 inches in the Midwest, to icing conditions, where we have quite a few folks with power out throughout Indiana, Illinois, Kentucky, and Virginia. I'll show you those power outages in just a minute. You can see on the GOES satellite image, I've got two different channels of the GOES satellite combined here. One is the sea surface temperature data, so you can see the Gulf Stream. See those temperatures there, the green? That's the Gulf Stream. And look at this. You even have the warm ocean water temperatures kicking up some more energy, and that's some lightning being detected out of those clouds over the Atlantic Ocean. So still a vigorous system out over the ocean. You can see those bumps in the clouds as that terminator line, the sunset line, comes down, and quite a bit of snow really impacting much of the Mid-Atlantic. As a matter of fact, Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Annapolis, Lower Eastern Shore, all schools in the state of Maryland today were closed. Northern Virginia schools were closed as well, and they may be impacted tomorrow because of the cold temperatures that have come in. Let me take this full screen and show you the satellite picture, and you can see, because this is always cool to watch, as it gets dark, you can see the night lights showing up, the city lights popping in as it does get dark. Meanwhile, cold air is really funneling down into Georgia and Alabama and Mississippi, even Arkansas, Louisiana, and Texas. Temperatures are really going to plummet there. And look at these clouds. This is like a lake effect, but it's a Gulf of Mexico or ocean effect clouds. As the cold air moves over the warm Gulf, it makes these clouds here, and there may even be precipitation falling. Look at that. It's really spectacular to see when that cold air plummets all the way down into the Gulf of Mexico, and some showers and storms approaching Tampa and Sarasota, Bradenton, down towards Naples as well. That's going to move through quickly, but boy, you're going to have to bundle up down there in Florida. Temperatures are going to get down into the upper 40s and not get out of the 50s during the day tomorrow. That'll be short-lived, but it's going to be cold for the next several days. Hope most of those snowbirds brought down their northerly winter jackets with them. I think they're going to need it. But you can see it's very cold ocean temperatures along the coastline there, but this is all very cold air coming down. So now starts several days of impactful weather as far as temperatures are concerned. And look at this. This is always cool to see in the GOES satellite image. Here is the snow on the ground. See the clouds moving above? You can see the clouds moving. When this doesn't move, we know that that is snow on the ground. And look at this strip up through Iowa here. We can get a little bit closer there and show you this too. You can see some of the lakes through the snow in Kansas. And look at Missouri. Lots of snow here. Kansas City, Missouri, setting a record 24-hour snowfall total. And look at the rivers happening, showing through the snow in Iowa. Once these clouds clear out, we'll see that snow extend all the way to the Mid-Atlantic. And what did those snow totals look like? Let me show you that. And here we go. So here's that strip of snow that accumulated in Kansas and parts of a little more northern parts of Oklahoma, through southern Iowa and into Missouri. Look at this. This is record snowfall here. As a matter of fact, in Kansas City, these are 12 inches plus. This is from this analysis here from the National Weather Service. And as I can cursor over them, I can see these change. It's just off screen, so you can't see them there. But look at that. Even across Virginia, we had snowfall totals, 8 inches, 10 inches, 12 inches. And then over towards Maryland's eastern shore, you can get here a little bit closer and show you what that looks like. This is all, this orange here is 8 inches of snow or more. And even up towards Annapolis, snowfall totals of 8.4 inches recorded. And over on the eastern shore there, 8 to 12 inches of snow. So it was a highly impactful event. And there were power outages with this system. Let's take a look at that. 254,000 meters out of power. This is residential and businesses. This is as of 4 o'clock Eastern time, so about 42 minutes ago, and it changes. We do have mutual assistance that has been activated. The states of Illinois and Indiana and Kentucky have requested power assistance to restore from the freezing rain that has caused tree limbs to break, and also excessive weight on those power lines that really does bring them down. Some of you may be without power, or some folks in this area may be without power for several days because some of the power lines on the distribution side, thank goodness, not the transmission side, distribution side have been impacted. And that's 254,000. You can see there from the colors, Kentucky and Virginia are the highest impacted states, but also Missouri, Illinois, and Indiana and West Virginia from that freezing rain accumulating on the wires and also on the tree limbs, bringing down those wires. So yeah, let me just show you quickly again that snow analysis here. This is the path, even in southern Pennsylvania, where the state has activated some commercial transportation restrictions. So you may want to check those if you're heading out through southern Pennsylvania. It's in the lower third of the state, lower portion of Pennsylvania here. There are other states of emergency that have been impacted as well. You can see the crawl at the top in red. That's providing critical infrastructure updates. And down the bottom, we're scrolling interesting information that could benefit state private sector liaisons and also private sector organizations. By the way, those of you that are part of the SISE, the Sensitive Information Sharing Environment, the hub has been upgraded, and you can now report information into the hub to be shared to all of the partners, and that is great news. So the other thing that I wanted to show you is over on the radar side of the house. Here's the radar, and you can see that there's been a little bit of a break here after the heavier snow moved out. But this is the back end of the low pressure system that still has to move through. So there will be moderate to heavy snow at times moving through West Virginia and Northern Virginia, Maryland, into Delaware. And some folks could pick up another 1 to 3 inches of snow, adding to those totals. So some areas could receive a total of 14, 15, 16 inches of snow if any of these bursts are heavy moving through. That'll be from about 6 o'clock to about 11 or 12 o'clock tonight as this pulls out. Winter storm warnings in effect until 1 o'clock in the morning here. Driving is treacherous, and temperatures are really diving down. This snow isn't going to go anywhere fast. It's going to stick around for several days. So what would I like to show you next? Well, we do have another potential snowstorm on the horizon, and I want to show you what that looks like, and then we'll go over to GeoCollaborate just for a quick winter storm severity index check. So here we are. We're going to take a look at the GFS model. You can see it's still indicating snow on the East Coast, and that is going to be moving out. See, as this low pressure system actually deepens, gets stronger out over the Atlantic Ocean. Look at all that. That's really heavy rain and storms off the coast. This is the back end of the upper level low pressure system as it moves through, and that is going to impact folks in the mid-Atlantic area till about midnight, 1 o'clock, as I said. And then strong winds from the west and the northwest are going to hit the mountains. And when that air hits the mountains, it goes up. And when the air goes up, it creates condensation and clouds, and it forces that moisture up. So you get residual snow that's going to be falling in western Maryland and the higher elevations of West Virginia, some of the ski resorts there, really benefiting from this snow. And before I go any further, let me see if I can get you the Wisp ski area before it gets dark. This is what it looks like right now. This is in western Maryland in Garrett County. It is snowing. You can see on the camera there as we pan around. Skiers are very, very happy that they've gotten snow, and they're going to get some more snow too as those lake effect snows or the moisture gets squeezed out over the mountains there. So lots of good skiing happening in western Maryland. So let me continue with the forecast and what this looks like over the next couple of days. So now we're into tomorrow afternoon. Look at this big high pressure system. Whenever you see high pressure ridging down like this, you can imagine cold air just seeping right down at the surface all the way down to Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia. Boy, there may be some impacts on some of the agricultural crops there as well. We'll take a look and see what advisories have been issued by the National Weather Service when I go over to GeoCollaborate here in just a minute. But you can also see a low pressure system that's going to be forming here, and that's what we're going to be keeping our eyes on. See this in southwestern Arizona? That's creating some potential snow showers and some potential hazardous driving conditions. Winter Storm Severity Index is picking up on that and just saying just use some caution if you're driving across the southwest part of the country. This is Tuesday night, so tomorrow night. But watch what happens to this area of low pressure. It kind of moves right down here in northern Mexico and starts to interact with the Gulf of Mexico here. High pressure is just putting a bunch of cold air across the eastern 2/3 of the nation. And that means that we could have another low pressure system developing here. So we're talking about Thursday of this week. So this is Monday. So in 3 days, another low pressure system developing in Texas. And look at this. It's cold enough to create snow. Dallas, Fort Worth, you're going to have to keep your eyes open for potential nasty weather on Thursday. And look at this, up into Oklahoma. And as this low pressure system deepens, look at this. We have another ice, concerned with ice in southern Arkansas, even northwestern Louisiana. We could be talking about sleet and freezing rain because this high pressure system has a lot of cold air with it. We're talking about a potential snowstorm here for Oklahoma, heading into Missouri and also into Arkansas and Tennessee. Watch as we take this into motion, how the snow field extends and the snow gets rather heavy. Little Rock, Arkansas. You may be dealing with quite a bit of snow accumulation Friday morning. And then this high pressure system over Pennsylvania really digs in and keeps that cold air moving right down the Appalachian Mountains. So lots of cold air in place here. Western North Carolina, Asheville, looks like you're going to be dealing with some snow as well, perhaps heavy at times during the day, Friday into Friday night. And then look at this, potential ice storm in South Carolina. We're going to be watching this very closely. We don't like ice. I know you don't like ice. When it freezes on contact, that's freezing rain, and we have power outages just like we were talking about in Kentucky, Indiana, Illinois, Missouri, and even West Virginia and Virginia. So this is now Saturday morning or Friday night about 8 p.m. headed into Saturday. Look at that. Snow extends all the way up through Chicago into Wisconsin, into Michigan, starting to get into Michigan here. And watch as this low really moves to the north and east. Ice storm perhaps prevailing in parts of North Carolina, central Virginia. But look at this band of heavy snow picking up in the mid-Atlantic, Maryland, northern Virginia, southern Pennsylvania. Those of you who sent me all those questions in New England and New York, this could be your storm. We're going to be monitoring it very closely, and you should too, because this is going to be quite an intense one if this model verifies. This is the GFS. We'll be watching them. And look at this. By Saturday afternoon, very heavy snow falling in the Baltimore-Washington corridor. Again, this could be another 12 to 15-inch snowfall in the mid-Atlantic here. It's too far ahead. We're talking about hour 126. So that's a little bit out into fantasy land, but it does tell us as meteorologists we should be monitoring this very, very closely, because if this happens again, we're not going to lose much of the snow that just fell today. It's going to stick around. Icy conditions will stick around, and then another 10 to 15 inches of snow on top of that. We'll be talking about major impacts in the mid-Atlantic area and also throughout North Carolina and South Carolina. So we're going to continue this, and look at this. The low pressure really bottoms out and explodes Saturday evening into Sunday morning. And look at this. Philadelphia, New York City, Hartford, Connecticut. We're talking about major impacts here by Saturday night. And look into Sunday. As we get into Sunday, that, my friends, is a major winter storm along the East Coast. We're talking, the model forecasts here are a little bit absurd. That's why we're going to be watching this with future model updates. But this, needless to say, is a major snow impact. This is a blizzard. And if it comes to fruition, it's going to shut down the entire Northeast corridor from Washington, D.C., all the way up to Portland, Maine. And then it starts to pull out to the east, coastal areas of Maine, Massachusetts, Cape Cod. This would be a doozy. And that's why we're going to keep watching it. And then it pulls out, and winds. Look at these strong winds whenever isobars are close together. That is very strong winds blowing a lot of that snow around. So if that continues to show up in the models, we're going to be talking about one major storm impacting all the way from the deep south, Dallas-Fort Worth, all the way up the coast, including South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, Connecticut, New York, New York City. And then that's going to have a lot of impact on critical infrastructure. So that's the way it looks right now. I'm going to leave you here with this satellite loop from the GOES satellite showing the snow in Missouri. This is Kansas City right here. This is Kansas City, and they'll be digging out for a while. There are parking restrictions on the roads in the city in Kansas City. Please be mindful, everyone, of the plows. Move your cars off the streets if you can, to give them the opportunity to clear that snow. Otherwise, they might just plow you in if you're watching in areas that received that snowfall today. And get ready. If you're living anywhere from Dallas-Fort Worth on north and east up the East Coast, please think about getting the right preparations, making the right preparations, and getting any supplies that you might need for a major East Coast snowstorm come the weekend. We'll be back tomorrow with another update. This has been produced for the All Hazards Consortium Sensitive Information Sharing Environment, where we share information across platforms, from private sector liaisons within state emergency operations centers to private sector organizations and the public too. Thank you for your comments and your feedback on these videos. We keep them professional. We stamp down any conspiracy theories because we want you to consume accurate and scientifically based weather information and impact information that you can use to plan on. So that's it for now. We'll be back tomorrow with another update. Thanks so much for watching. Please take care of yourself, and please watch out for your neighbors. Take care of them. They need you, and they do appreciate it. Have yourself a good evening.